Okay, this is a tutorial on how to create threads and holes in Autodesk Inventor. If you'll remember, this is the bolt that we created in the revolve video. If you need help drawing it, just go ahead and go look that video up, and then you can come back and watch this one. But if you have already gotten this drawn, go ahead and you'll notice up at the top here you've got your options, and in the modify section of the taskbar, or the ribbon, you'll see a button or an option that says thread. So we're going to click thread, and then it's going to pop up a little menu, and it's going to ask us to select a face that we want to put threads on. Now for a bolt, obviously you're going to thread the body of the bolt, okay? And you can, right here, I mean, you've put threads in. You've hit full length, you hit apply, you're done. I mean, that's it. You can go to specification and you can change, the size of your bolt. This one, or the size of your threads, this one is a 0.125, so it automatically puts that, and then it gives us our thread designation. So if it was something other than 5-40, let's say it was 544, which is a fine thread, you would go here and select that. You could also check here if it was right hand or left hand. We're going to leave ours as right hand and just go from there. But you hit apply, and then you'll notice it has put the threads onto the object. Now with Inventor, it actually doesn't put the threads on there, it puts a picture of threads on there. So if you go to print this out on the 3D printer or something like that, it's not actually going to be threaded, but for the purposes of drawing and for just demonstrating that this is supposed to be a threaded object, this works fine for what we do. Now to do holes, I'm going to go ahead and do a new sketch. I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to draw a rectangle. Let's just do let's say 3 inches, an inch. We'll finish it. We'll extrude it back, let's say 4 inches. Hit OK. Now let's create a sketch on this top face here. Now to do holes, what you need to do is put in points. Up here where you've got your options for line, circle, arc, rectangle, all that, you also have an option for point. Now what this does is it lets you locate where you want a hole to be. So for example, if we wanted a hole directly in the middle of this rectangle, we would come down, and you can see the dotted lines pop up on the screen, and once you get a dotted line going left and right and up and down, you know you're in the middle. You can click right there. So we've got a point right in our middle. Now I'm just going to put other points kind of in random places, just for the sake of time. But normally you would go in and you would dimension these and put them wherever you need your holes. You would do your hole locations, which is important to look at on your blueprints and things like this as you draw, to find out where these holes are located from at least 2 different points. You have to have at least 2 different dimensions in order to find the proper locations. Alright, so we've got our holes in, or we've got our points in. We're going to go ahead and hit finish. Now instead of doing extrude or doing any of this, we're going to go under the modify, same place we went for the thread. But instead of clicking thread, we're actually going to click on hole. And you'll notice as I clicked on that, it automatically selected all of those points and it put in a hole. Well, that's all well and good if all of your holes are the exact same type, the exact same size, and everything like that. But if they're not, what you'll have to do is you hold down Control and you click on the point, and you'll notice it highlights in white when you click on it. And if you don't get it, it doesn't work. Alright, so we've got that hole selected. We'll leave it. And right here is where you put in the diameter that you want your hole to be. We've got that one at 0.25, which is fine. We'll leave it there. Your termination, that's saying, do you want this hole to go all the way through that object, or do you want it to go a certain distance? If you select a distance, you'll notice you get an option here to put in a distance. So we're going to put it in as, we'll say, a 1/2 inch deep. Also with selecting a distance, you get the option for a drill point. is this a flat drill point, or is it going to be an angle drill? Now most of the time it's probably going to be an angle drill, but every once in a while you'll get a flat drill point. And the degree that it gives you for the angle is fine. You don't have to worry about changing it. Alright, so once you get that hole is done, you can go ahead and hit OK. There you go. Now you can go to click to share your sketch, and you'll notice it brings your points back up, and click hole again, and again you've got your same issue with your holes coming up. Now we've got that one selected. Alright, so now we're going to do the second type of hole here, which is a counterbore hole. Now with the counterbore you have two different diameters, and you have different depths and everything that goes along with it. So for the top diameter, that's telling you how big around the circle is for the counterbore. So let's go ahead and we're going to make ours 0.5, and we're going to make it an 1/8 inch deep. Alright, and then I want this to go all the way through. I don't want it to go a certain distance. Alright, and it's going to be, we'll do it as a 1/4 inch as well. Alright, and for this one you'll notice we don't get the drill point because it's going all the way through. Alright, so I do want to do this as a tapped hole, which is a threaded hole. So we click tapped, and as we select that, it brings up our thread types. So we're going to do an ANSI unified screw threads, which is the standard. It tells us our hole is a 0.25 inch diameter, which it is. So a 1/4-20 is a standard thread for a 1/4 inch hole. So we're going to hit apply. All's good in the world. Alright. Now we have these holes that came back up. Deselect them again, and we'll do a spot face hole. It's basically the same as a counterbore hole. The depth generally is a lot shallower, but it's pretty much the exact same. So we'll do a clearance hole. Again, that changes kind of how it looks, but it's a flathead machine screw, size 0. We don't really use clearance hole very much, but it's there, if we ever need it. You can hit apply on that one, and again you can zoom in here and deselect this hole, and now we'll go with this one right here, and we'll do it as a tapered hole, or a countersink hole. We don't want it as a clearance, so let's do it as a threaded. We'll do that. And let's change our size to a 1/4. Let's do a 1/4 inch hole. Everything else looks fine. We hit apply. Thread depth must be less than the hole depth. Okay. So what we have to do is determine, do we want our threads to go all the way through? Alright. So if we do, we just hit full depth, and there you go. Oh, it's giving us an error for our countersink. So to change that, we'll just do 0.375, because it has to be bigger than the hole itself, and then hit apply. And we'll go ahead and do OK there. Alright, so that's how you create holes in Autodesk Inventor. And you'll notice if you look at the ones that we threaded, they actually do have threads all the way through. Alright, and that's how you create holes in Inventor.